Alright, welcome everyone to the final game of Brawler's Bash. Brawler Bash Game 5 has me on my home away from home, table 15, where I am facing off against the Vampire Covenant as generaled by Chris Mitchell. This is a beautiful army, and it was a rare chance for me because I have not yet played the Vampire Covenant, either played with them or against them in all of 9th Age, so I have no freaking idea what I am doing, no idea what units are good. I'm really kind of basing a lot of my thinking here on the old 8th edition rules, which I know is dangerous, so let's start talking about the armies and see how I did. Alright, so on his side, this was deployed on the diagonal, so that's why he's kind of stuck in this L shape here. He has a unit of his vampire spawn. There's 5 of them. He's got 2 units of the dire wolves, 8 men strong up front. He's got some fell bats, or great bats, I think they're called now. 2 little blocks of skeletons in the back. Up front, he has 2 5-man units of wraiths. Then he has a huge unit of Barrow Guard with great weapons and the Banner of the Barrow Kings. Also in that unit, he has his Vampire Count, who's a Lamia, with the commandment thing that gives him all weapon skill 5. The blade that lets her raise people, and 4-up regeneration, and she's Path of Evocation, obviously. Also has his Barrow King in there with Mithril Mail. Behind that is another unit of zombies with a Necromancer on the Cadaver Wagon, with the Book of Arcane Power. He's a 4 spells Wizard Master to Evocation. Next to that is the Court of the Damned, and a big old unit of 45 skeletons with the Flaming Standard. Then there's another unit of 5 Vampire Spawn, and a unit of 5 Vampire Knights with Musician and Standard Bearer. To me, I'm thinking the big threats are like the Vampire Knights, because I remember them being crazy good. Also his Vampire. So I kind of want to hold back and see what he presents and react to it, is ultimately my plan. So I've got my shooting and the pain train over here on the side. Everything else is moved forward, but not aggressively so. Because again, I kind of want to give him some breathing room and see what he does with it. And over here, I'm ready to send the Slayers up over this hill towards the Vampire Spawn on the right, or on the left. And I get first turn. So I decide to move up the pain train just a little bit because I want to try and shoot at those knights some. I also just kind of form a line with actually giving enough time for my chap to get out in front of it this time. So we'll see how well that works. My plan, I totally have him on shooting, so I kind of want to make use of it because I haven't had anybody else on shooting all tournament and might as well see what it feels like. On this side, I come up. I wanted to get the Slayers to the top of the hill so they could see everything and figure out where they're going to be best used. I end up opening up some gunfire and killing off 1 knight during the shooting phase. And I kill off 1 dog with the chopper here. I didn't do a very good job. So the Vampire Count's turn 1. He charges my copter, and I choose to flee just because I have the scenario where if I flee once and survive it, I get 1,000 points. So I figure the copter's not going to really do anything against that many bodies. Might as well use it to get the 1,000 points. And it's successful. Over here, he slams the Vampire Spawn into my Great Weapon Dwarves. I think he tried to slam the knights into the pain train and failed. He slammed the wraiths into the front of my Vengeance Seeker on this side, and brought his vampire spawn around so they can't see, or so that my slayers can't see them. At this point, I figure I just want to kind of threaten him. If I can just start killing all the stuff with the slayers on this side, maybe it'll make him pull the vampire spawn back to deal with the slayers. But I don't really have any other options, so that's kind of what I'm hoping for. And here he just moves everything up pretty aggressively. The big benefit I see here is he's left me plenty of space to come on with my miners behind him. He's chaffing up stuff pretty well. And here's some more looking at chaffing stuff up. And then he tries something, I don't remember even what the spell was, and miscasts it and loses a few zombies. No big deal. Also during this phase, he tries with his big caster to do the evocation spell to heal stuff, and I eat it. So he's only got one evocation spell out of his first level caster, which should help keep some of these numbers down, I think. Yeah, I think this is what he healed up his vampires, or the vampire spawn, because I stood and shot them when he charged in and they took some wounds. So that's what ended up costing him that spell. So we go into combat. I take out 2 of the vampire spawn. He takes out a bunch of dwarves, but not enough to make me not stubborn, and I stick. Over here, the Vengeance Seeker does nothing against these ethereal units, and he reforms to get some more attacks in next time. And then it's my turn, and I decide, you know what, I need to get some combat going. I end up slamming my shield dwarves into the front of the bats. I also bring my Deep Watch forward into the Cairn Wraiths so that I can bring my king in and have his magic weapon go to work. Slayers here obviously go to destroy some chaff. And I actually pull back the pain train. I want more time to shoot at these knights. And if I can make him fail some more saves, I'll be happy about that. I also bring my one and only line of defense, the chopper, over here to deal with the vampire spawn. So obviously during combat, I kill the dogs and overrun into the bats. The knights, or the miners come on. I'd actually forgotten it up to this point, and my opponent was super cool and let me put it on and get my shots from the turn, and I killed a few zombies, so awesome. I kill the bats, overrun into the dogs here, and here is probably a mistake. I end up killing the cairn, or the wraiths, and choose to overrun, thinking that I would go a few inches up and be ready to accept a countercharge from that big unit. But I rolled boxcars. And as we move me forward, it turns out I clip the unit of skeletons, which means I essentially have to take it back and do it as if it's a normal charge and maximize and all that fun stuff. And that ends up with me here, ready to eat a flank from that big killy unit. Oh boy. Great time for my dwarves to finally roll a pursuit roll. It was just, or an overrun roll. It was just obnoxious. And over here, I do actually finally kill the vampire spawn, but I lose about another 4 dwarves to do it. But I think that's a pretty good change. Or at least I did until my opponent pointed out that that unit of vampire spawn is worth about half what this unit of dwarves is, and made me sad on the inside. So VC turn, it says 1 here, but it is turn 2. He slams some vampire spawn into the copter. And yeah, this is going to be bad. So I'm thinking he's going to do some pain, But the one thing I still have is all my fire breaths. I can kick some tail and win on the crumble, so I'm still feeling good here. Feeling less good over here when he succeeds in getting these knights into the few remaining dwarves I have. He also then starts turning stuff around to deal with the miners, and again, my failing to know about VC kind of did me in here. I didn't realize zombies could have musicians, so I wasn't really expecting that. And then he starts throwing spells, and I can't stop him. And he's got this thing cooking where he throws these spells, and if he gets evocation spells off, he starts radiating out lightning reflexes. So he's got like, I think it's rerolls to hits on the big scary unit, plus lightning reflexes. If it weren't for the fact that I'm about to throw down the hold stone and I'll get my parry, he'd be hitting me on 2s, rerollable. It was crazy. So we go into combat over here, and obviously those dwarves aren't going to stand up against the knights. The only plus side of this is now he's presented the flank to the pain train and all this shooting if the pain train can't get in there. Obviously, these vampire spawn are just going to totally destroy the chopper. But my guys totally destroy the chaff over here and reform and overrun respectively. And the wraiths that charged over here finally kill this Vengeance Seeker. So that's his second unit of wraiths. I do actually kill one in return, though. And then I open up with Fire Breath, and I kill 19, and my characters go apeshit on these skeletons. I win this fight. I lose a lot, but I end up winning this fight by 29. And I'm like, yes, everything's going to crumble. I'm going to kick ass. And then my opponent tells me, oh no, that's not how it works anymore. And apparently, with all of the buffs he's got going on this unit, like because he's stubborn, it maxes the potential loss at 12, and then he's got something that halves it, and then for like each of his big things around, it's dropped by 1. So on a loss of 29, he lost 3 models out of that unit. Holy fucking shit. But in my defense, in his defense, I guess, that's kind of what you get for assuming things work like they did in the old edition. Do I feel that they're overpowered? Abso-freaking-lutely. I maybe I shouldn't have vaporized him, but winning by 29 and him only losing 3 is kind of ridiculous. But I end up being able to turn around, which is good. My dwarves will enjoy watching their deaths come from the face. And it wrecked me up another 19 fire breath deaths, so that's pretty cool. So my turn 3, I do manage to succeed in slamming the pain train into the flank of these vampire knights. I slam my shield dwarves into the back of his big scary unit. Slayers go into zombies, and miners go into zombies. And we go into combat, and the pain train kills, like literally just grinds to death the the knights, and overruns to this point. I don't actually manage to hit the wraiths, which is sad. And over here, death happens with the final breath weapon of the tournament going off and killing another 6 zombies. So both those units are destroyed, and I turn to face his mage zombie bunker. Over here, it doesn't go well. You would figure being in the back and being able to do some pain. I wasn't able to hurt these guys. His Vampire is killing him. I think I've got 2 of the Deep Watch left. He almost killed the back rank of the Shield Greybeards attacking from the rear, and I didn't hit back hard enough, and he wins this one by a landslide. But luckily I'm stubborn and don't go anywhere, so I guess he can't have won it by that much, because I wouldn't be stubborn in the back. But in either case, my units don't break, and I don't really accomplish anything against him. So VC turn 3, in comes the vampire spawn into my crossbowman, and in comes his caster into the flank of my knights, mainly to cancel their ranks, because I'm canceling his guys' ranks. But yeah, this is turning into a big old cluster here in the middle. He runs the wraiths through the pain train, but doesn't actually get to do any hurt to it. During combat, obviously, the vampire spawn are going to kill some crossbowmen, and they overrun into the bolt thrower. And bad things happen. Finally, everything breaks. He ends up running down my remaining characters in the Deep Watch unit and the dwarves, the graybeards as well. So it's just a mess. My whole center has fallen at this point. And it actually does look like he did wounds with the wraiths now that I see. It looks like I took 4 wounds from that. So we go to my turn 4. I decide to charge and try and pick up the points for the Coven here. I fail getting the Slayers in. They go forward like next to nothing. And the Miners go in the back, which even in the back, I think this is a bad deal for the Miners. I decide to go ahead and try and get his wizard killed with the pain train. So that's kind of what that is. We go into combat over here. The vampire spawn kill the bolt throw and overrun. I get some zombies dead, I think is what I end up choosing to do, figuring that I could maybe get him on the crumble. But he ends up killing me back just by getting that random 1 wound through. Over here, I throw some wounds onto the Coven, and he kills the back rank of the Miners, but I'm still stubborn and don't go anywhere. VC turn 4 is a lot of reforming. And then he casts spells and gets a bunch of these freaking great weapon wielding dead guys back. Fantastic. But in this fight, I don't even need the Slayers. Between my character and the remaining Miners, I end up killing his chariot, which now leads a standoff here in the no man's zone. So we go into turn 5, and my opponent and I look at each other, and I'm like, there is no reason in the world that I should run straight in your face, because I've got no chance of killing this unit. I've got no chance of earning any other points. But I don't want to be a bitch. So how about this? I charge you. We get into a combat. You accept a challenge against my Slayer Lord, and we see what happens. My opponent agreed to this, provided that I don't try to hurt his wizard, because he had to keep her alive for his 1,000 points. I said agreed, and then I promptly failed the charge. So this is basically my turn 5 here. However, on my opponent's turn, he decides to go ahead and fulfill the contract anyway, charges into me with his big unit and the wraiths. And he magics the hell out of himself and me and everything around him and does murderous death. I kill some guys. My Slayer Lord absolutely butchers his BSB. Like I did a ridiculous number of wounds to him, so he's dead. I got some extra points, and all that's left is the Slayer Lord, and we basically just sit here flailing at each other through all of turn 6 because nothing else needs to happen. So that's pretty much how it goes. So after 6 turns, the Dwarven holds are sitting at 45-22 for this game. My opponent picked up 72-94, so it is my 4th fairly crushing victory for the tournament. So I ended up going 1-4. With the grand total of deaths from this battle and all of everything else, this battle ended up being Fire Breaths killed another 27. So we are looking at 95 Fire Breath deaths through the entirety of the tournament. 5 games, 95 breath deaths. I'm pretty impressed with that. I'm pretty happy with it. It's an average of like 23 or so. Wait, that's not right. That shouldn't be. Maybe it is. But it was a fun tournament, all things told. Great game. Chris Mitchell is a great guy to play against. I highly recommend it. My biggest regret for this particular game is I wish I knew more about the vampire counts, or the vampire covenant, and particularly how their crumble works, or in this case doesn't work. Because I went in with a certain assumption and it went way off the rails. As a side note, the crumble rules are busted as all hell and should get fixed. But that may just be a little bitterness sneaking in there. But all in all, I had a great game. I hope you guys enjoyed this one. By the end of the tournament, I ended up, amusingly enough, after this game, I was placed such that if there was a 6th game, I would be on table 15. So this was my land. I defended it as best I could, and what else can you ask for dwarves? I will try and do another video to kind of summarize the tournament and give my general thoughts on it, but I do not know when that will be coming out. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like, subscribe. Big shout out to my patrons on Patreon, Peter Vase and Sylvanus Ironwood. If anybody else would like to contribute to that fund and help me fund my hobby and other trips to tournaments such as this, please check out my Patreon in the link below. And every little gift is welcome, so I would appreciate it. It was a great tournament. I hope you guys enjoyed all these battle reports, and we will be back to our normal narrative fun on the next one. So catch you next time, guys.